Good afternoon, good afternoon. It is a beautiful and lovely day in Detroit, Michigan. Just kidding, I don't know what the weather is like over there. I'm here in Vancouver, but if you're a Red Wings fan, it is a beautiful day. Because not only are we talking about things like this Reddit post on the R Ranger sub, but there also are some other things that I thought were interesting to talk about in the world of Detroit hockey. We'll get to this Patrick Kane conversation in a little bit. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about one of the bigger stories of the Detroit Red Wings prospect world. Yesterday, we talked about some of the top guys in the Wings system, who are some of the top NHL prospects in general. Today, we are talking about a guy who has slowly been working his way back up in the spotlight, and his name is Sebastian Cossa. Because when it comes to Kosa, he's had himself a pretty strange season. I mean, last year, we all recognized that his production and his rate wasn't really the best. He had a .783 save percentage in the Grand Rapids Griffin system and a .913 save percentage in the ECHL. Of course, for Kosa, he was the first-round pick by the Wings back in 2021, the first goaltender taken off of the board in the 15th overall spot. 6'6", 209 left-handed catching goaltender. He's a pretty big deal, literally. And because the season has been so up and down, this year in the AHL was seen by many as one of the most important years that he's ever going to have. If there's going to be a season where Sebastian Cossa really gets his wheels back on track and gets everything heading into the right direction, it's got to be this year. And in the AHL, he's got .911 as a save percentage and a .261 goals against average in 24 games played. His record is 12-12, but that's more indicative of the Griffins rather than himself. And the best part about Sebastian Cossa is that if you go over to his last 6 games, he's got a .933 save percentage, and in his last 3 games, he's got a .936. Because of this, Sebastian Cossa was named as the AHL's Player of the Week. What I wanted to do was go out there and read this piece. The American Hockey League announced on Monday that Grand Rapids Griffins goaltender Sebastian Cossa has been selected as the Howie's Hockey Tape AHL Player of the Week for the period ending February 25th, 2024. Kosa, who was selected in the 15th overall spot by Detroit in 2021, stopped 65 of 67 shots over 2 games this past week, showing a 1 goals against average and a .970 save percentage. On Wednesday night, the 21-year-old collected his first AHL shutout with 28 saves in a 1-0 victory over Texas, lifting Grand Rapids past Texas into second place in the Central Division and becoming just the third Griffins rookie to record a shutout over the last 9 years. Last night, Kosa went on to stop 37 shots, including 14 in the third period, to help the Griffins snap Milwaukee's 19-game winning streak and extend Grand Rapids' point streak to 15 games. Now, these records are nuts. I didn't even realize it was this crazy. 65 saves on 67 shots. Milwaukee had a 19-game winning streak. I mean, we had just talked about the Edmonton Oilers and their crazy winning streak, one back of the Pittsburgh Penguins record. Meanwhile, Milwaukee in the AHL's got a 19-game winning streak. That's insane. Kosa has been on a tear as of late. That's kind of an interesting sentence to put in your media press release form, but okay, I'll roll with it, as he's currently on an 8-game point streak, 6-0-2, from January 19th to yesterday. The 6'7" goaltender, they say he's 6'7" now. Interesting, his elite prospects still say he's only 6'6". Okay. Let's roll with it. 6'7". The 6'7" goaltender is also 8-1-2 in his last 11 outings with a 1.90 goals against, which is still very good, and a .931 save percentage. In 24 appearances this season, he's got his overall record with 1 shutout with his 2.61 goals against and .911 save percentage. So he really has been bolstering up those numbers the past few weeks here. His entire body of work this season is really only being put on a spotlight now because, I mean, look, the .931 save percentage, the .970 save percentage, the past few games have been really good for Sebastian Cossa. He also is the second Griffin in the past 6 weeks to be named AHL Player of the Week. Marco Kasper was given this honors back on January 21st, and he's the first Grand Rapids goalie to earn the honor since Cal Pickard in 2020. The team's first rookie goaltender to win it also since Jared Correau in 2015. Prior to turning pro, Kosa spent 3 seasons in the WHL with the Oil Kings and yada yada yada. We all kind of know the story here. He was really, really good with the Oil Kings, which is why he was the first goaltender taken off the board in 2021. 941 save percentage and a 157 goals against in 19 games. That still continues to blow my mind every time I think about it. But with this in mind, the Red Wings feeling good, taking a look at your prospects, everything's going fine and dandy. I wanted to talk about a more negative story that kind of paints another team in a bad light, but gives Red Wings fans even more opportunity to be snarky and happy. We're talking about this post made on the R Rangers subreddit, discussing whether or not re-signing Patrick Kane was a huge mistake. A healthy Kane would have been a great addition to our squad. Now, this is an interesting conversation because if you go over to some of the replies, the top one says, yeah, you know we're matching against Detroit in the first round. It's such a Rangers storyline. Another reply goes out there and says, yeah, hindsight is 2020, but Patrick Kane looks awesome after the hip surgery. He was my favorite player growing up, and it really sucks to see that he's having success elsewhere after we barely got to enjoy his full potential here. There then is another argument saying there wasn't really cap space. $2.75 million a year was not going to work for the Rangers. Man, too bad that fourth liner in Barclay Goodrow is making $3.62 million instead of Kane. Now, when it comes to Kane and his entire profile, I mean, we did note that he was alright with the Rangers. He was just under a point per game in the regular season, just under a point per game in the playoffs. Now he's over a point per game with Detroit after all the points that he's been accruing recently and that overtime winner last night. So Patrick Kane, post-surgery, is definitely looking more so like the Kane of old rather than the Kane that was fizzling out and kind of needing that surgery in the first place. It is kind of a miracle that the surgery helped him out and we're seeing such amazing things out of Kane, considering the status that no NHL player in the past has ever returned from that hip replacement surgery and had a successful NHL tenure afterwards. Ed Jovanovski, Nick Backstrom, Ryan Kessler, all these guys did not succeed afterwards. Kane is, and it's not looking like a problem at all, that entire hip resurfacing surgery that he ended up getting. That now, because this is the case here, because he is so good in Detroit, because now there are conversations about him maybe re-signing in Detroit, this entire thing, $2.75 million for a point per game guy, sure, he's 35 years old, but what are you going to do? He's really good. He's still good. This is the lesson on hindsight. The hindsight to trump all hindsights, because man oh man, who could have seen this coming? Patrick Kane coming back from this uncomebackable surgery and actually being good. Meanwhile, for the Rangers, you've got a bunch of guys who are making some money. I mean, $2.75 million would not have fit on this team, which currently has $144,000 in cap space, but that's $3.6 million being held up with Barclay Goodrow till the end of 26-27 certainly is noteworthy. And if you go back over onto the Reddit page, take a look at some other comments made by Rangers fans. We didn't have the cap space. Even then, it would be a tremendous risk to take. But when you put yourself in cap hell by signing replacement level fourth liners to absurd contracts, then the only contracts you'll have space to sign are league minimums. We didn't have any cap room. We had to sign Keandre Miller and Lafreniere. I'm happy for Kane for beating the odds of the surgery. With that being said, him re-signing would have been a nightmare if the surgery was not successful. For Kane to have signed here, he would have needed to take league minimum plus games played bonuses like Wheeler got, only they would have been higher amounts. That $2 million would be counting against next year's cap. The risk of him hitting those bonuses but not being good to go in the playoffs would have been terrible for us. And so, I want to go out there and ask this question to y'all in the comments section. If you're a Rangers fan, firstly, sorry for forcing you to sit through the entire Sebastian Cossa conversation, but hey, it's my show, I'm going to do what I want. If you're a fan of the New York Rangers, what are your thoughts on the entire idea that you guys made a mistake by not re-signing Patrick Kane? Is this the case? Was there enough grounds to not force this signing to happen? You didn't have the cap space, you didn't have the guarantee that he'd be good. How does it feel to see him doing as well as he is in Detroit? If you're a Red Wings fan, what are your thoughts on your due diligence and how you signed Patrick Kane, getting one up over the New York Rangers, who probably would have wanted to see him come back? I mean, I saw a lot of Rangers fans over the course of the offseason saying, yeah, getting Kane back would be cool if he's able to sign for league minimum. This is a good player. He was good. If we can get some sort of guarantee that he's going to be good, then hey, I'd be on board. But of course, in hockey, nothing is guaranteed, especially when it comes to the health status of some of your star players. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Firstly, about Sebastian Cossa getting the AHL Player of the Week honors, as well as the idea that Patrick Kane not re-signing in New York was a huge mistake by the Rangers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.